Okay, I will share you my screen. Can you see something?
Yeah.
I want to hide this. So this is some preparation for AGM to kind of go through everything that will happen, so you're prepared and you know what's gonna what it's gonna be about. And I think you're probably a bit familiar with quite some of the content, since I've been posting about some information and so on. And those of you who were at NEP, is the person here? Did it work? Did someone join, or?
Yeah, he's in the call.
Okay, perfect. So. Great. Hello. Yeah, so those of you who were at NEP as well, NEP NP, that we had 2 weeks ago, we also know some of the content. But yeah, I can just show you what we have in mind, or I have in mind for the agenda today, to kind of just go through some introduction, so you meet other people. You know some of them, and you probably don't know some of them. Just some contact information, communication at AGM, the program, logistics of venues. Then the topics that will be voted on by you. As well as some guidelines, what the code of conduct is, what you need to bring, and other matters and questions. And just if you have any questions during the whole thing, just speak up and let me know. So feel free to do so. So if you can just go around, and it's a bit difficult, I don't see the people in the call now since I have the presentation only, but just who you are and which sections are you from and what do you... I received some replies in the form, what your expectations are for AGM Thessaloniki. Yeah, just feel free to start, whoever.
Alright, I am Brian Potter. I am president of ESN Sweden, and I don't really have... I mean, I expect a lot from AGM, but not like anything in specific. Just it's gonna, I assume, be like the NPs or the CND, but on a much bigger scale, which sounds pretty awesome.
Nice.
I can continue. My name is Ellen. I'm from ESN Växjö, and I'm the delegate for our section, and I also have a vote delegation from Malmö. Yeah, what are my expectations? I mean, I joined one AGM before, the one in Costa Brava last year, so I already got some experiences there. I really hope that ESN review finally passes, and yeah, I just hope that there will be enough time to mingle and talk to other ESNers and get more input. And I hope that I will meet the mascot from ESN Trondheim as well, so that we can have an otter reunion.
Nice.
I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, okay, perfect. Jessica Chu from ESN Kalmar. I guess my expectations, similar to Ryan Potter, I think he said. Not really sure what to expect fully, but hoping to learn a lot about the ESN network. And the biggest thing is to really network with the other sections and see how ESN is run in different countries and different sections, and just the programs and the things that people do, because I feel like we've fallen off the map. So yeah, that's about it.
Great.
Well, I guess I can take the mic for now. My name is Joseph. I'm LR from ESN Sweden. And my expectations are very similar to Alan's. I'm also very interested in the ESN review. I hope it finally gets through. Also, kind of looking forward to the discussions about the logo. I was also interested into that. But otherwise, just, whatever they manage to surprise me with. It's going to be my third AGM, so I have a pretty good idea of what's happening. Yeah, that's me.
Great. Great to have experienced people as well. I've been to 3 AGMs soon.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice. My name is Marcus. I'm the president of ESN Sweden. This will be my first AGM, so I don't really know what to expect, but I am really interested in the outcome of ESN review and what will happen.
Hey, I'm Iona from Lund. I'm communication manager, and this is my first AGM as well. So, same. I'm not quite sure what to expect, but yeah, I feel quite involved in I'm quite passionate about the logo change, so I'm interested in that. And I'm going back to the UK next year, so same as Jessica, I'm also quite interested in how the national levels all interact with each other and how they compare. Yeah.
Great. Did we miss someone? Or?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Venkat and I'm from ESN I'm the secretary of the section of ESN And as many of you, I'm the first. It's the first AGM for me, and no specific expectations. Hoping it's a good time with you all. Yeah.
I guess that's everyone. Yep. Yeah, and I'm Michaela. I'm the one who has been spamming you about everything and reminding you to pay and reminding you to register, and also I'm responsible for the delegation at AGM and also make sure that you are informed and you know what's going to happen. So, and also at the AGM, if there's any questions, just let me know. That's why I'm at AGM, to help you out. And it's my second AGM. I've been to the one 2 years ago. And I'm looking forward to see delegations, see you getting more interested and motivated, and see the bigger picture of ESN at AGM. See 800 people. I don't know if you had time to go through the handbook that I did, but I also included it there. Made some contact information. At AGM, we have 3 people from the National Board of ESN Sweden. So it's me as the NR, it's Javer, the CBADA coordinator, until 1st of May, and then also Marcus, the president, who's in the call, who's the president until last of April, who are you can just approach us if there's anything, and if you have any questions, just let us know. So yeah. And also what I wrote as well in the handbook is for communication, we will have the chat that we have now, which is just at AGM. You will see it's going to be a lot of spam and so on. And also there will be a second Facebook chat as well, where I will just use for announcements if there's something which comes up. There's also still the Facebook group where more documents and other information is shared. Also the Facebook group for all the participants, so make sure that you accept the invitation to the group, so you're part of that, because that's going to be a lot of information there. Also the OC, the organization committee, at AGM, they are using Telegram. So either if you have downloaded it yet or not, make sure to join the, I don't know what they call it, the channel. Because there they will also send announcements to all the participants at AGM. And we also have the Drive folder where I've added all the documents for AGM, what's needed. And also the sheet, the Excel sheet that you have been updating for a while now. On the ESN wiki there's also all the documents, but I also saved them down in the Drive already. So if you just want to find them there, they are on the Drive. And yeah, same, the link down there is just a quicker link to go to the documents that's downloaded. And then I also made some videos. I will hopefully make some more. But so far it's for the most important topic like ESN review and about the logo. The program at AGM Thessaloniki is looking like this. So first day is the official arrival day. I think everyone either arrives before or during first day. And you will be checking in at a hotel. And there you will be checking in. You will need your ESN card and passport for the check-in. There's also more detailed in the handbook that I did how the check-in will go. And you will get a wristband there as well. Then we will go join in for the flag parade, which I will come back to, and also the opening ceremony. Friday it begins, and there's plenaries during the whole day, and the social program in the evening is international dinner. I will tell you more about all these aspects later. On Saturday, there's plenaries during the day. We will have NPs, but it's not going to be a national platform like we had, for example, in Karlskrona or those on Skype. This will just be an hour where the ESN Sweden delegation will gather, and we will just talk about the votings for the day after, so everyone know what's going to happen and also are on the same page, and just the possibility to talk for 1 hour, because you will see it's going to be very hectic. And then there's a culture show, and on Sunday it's plenaries. You will be voting on Sunday, and there's also going to be the info market, which will also have, that's where you will promote your university. And you will have also the chance to visit some panel debates about the European election and some other things. They have organized it pretty well. And then there's the Star Awards ceremony in the evening and a gala. And on Monday is the departure day, if you either leave then or leave afterwards. The flag parade, it will take place on Thursday afternoon from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So either if you arrive before, you will be meeting, you will just be meeting us there. So either meet up before. I will be going from Athens on Thursday morning, because before AGM, all the NRs has a 3-day event before. So we will be having our CNR from Monday to Wednesday, and then we will go to AGM, so it's going to be a hectic week. So I'm not really sure yet when we will arrive. And for the flag parade, you should preferably bring as much yellow and blue colors as possible, so you can best represent ESN Sweden. For example, Swedish flags, your section flag. If you have face paint, you can paint yellow and blue flags, and so on. And you will also receive your blue hoodie for the delegation, and this will be provided by ESN Sweden. I asked before, but you will get it there for free. And we will also make a Spotify playlist with Swedish songs and so on. So if you have a portable speaker or so on, you can bring it, so we can play Swedish songs. The flag parade is where all them 700-800 people will go through Thessaloniki for about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. There will be a group picture in front of one of the famous points in Thessaloniki. and it's just a lot of positive atmosphere and showing this unity and diversity and so on. So it's a really cool thing. I'm sure the ones who've been to AGM agrees about this. So yeah, as I said, just bring Swedish flag, section flag, face paint. The more colors, the better. Any questions about flag parade or something so far?
Can the person who would be able to bring a portable speaker also write that in the sheet so that we don't bring too many speakers or don't have any?
Yes, I will write it down so we can also inform the other people who is not in the call. Yep, good idea. And you will see as well, like Sweden, we are 20 people in our delegation. So we're quite a medium-sized delegation, but there are other ones who are more loud and they are bigger delegations and take much more that you notice them. So, yeah.
Last time somehow all the Swedish people were at different places, so we didn't. I mean, I joined quite late, but it was not everyone from the Swedish delegation having like Swedish flags. They were all around the place. So is this time the intention to have all people together during the flag parade?
Yeah. We should be walking as a country together. Yeah. So after that, we will be heading for the opening ceremony. It's not yet sure if you will have the possibility to change or not after the flag parade. For example, take away the yellow and blue paint in the face if you have flags or something, because we will go into the opening ceremony and that takes place immediately after. At the opening ceremony there will be speakers from the university, the city, the government, the European Commission, other stakeholders. So it's important to to show some respect for them. And that's why they usually have a business casual dress code, but I'm not sure now, since we will go there directly. I will let you know once I know more about it. And afterwards there will be dinner and then buses provided back to the hotels. Yeah, as I mentioned before. And then the plenaries, which are on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. They will begin at 8 or 8:30. However, they will probably be even before this, because I'm pretty sure the plenaries will be delayed. And then they will start earlier. It will take place on the ground floor of Grand Palace Hotel, so in hopefully where all this ESN Sweden delegation will be staying. It will take place on the bottom floor, which means that you can just leave directly from the breakfast to 1 minute and then you're in the plenaries, which saves you a lot of time. The voting devices, everyone has a vote delegation, can pick it up half hour to 45 minutes before the plenaries begin. And they will most probably also have tables with the countries, for example, Sweden, Spain, Switzerland, in one table where you will queue and pick up your voting device. And for that you need to bring your ID or passport, so ESN card is not working, student card does not work either. And there we will sit together as the ESN Sweden delegation. All countries usually sit together. And there are a few NRs now working on a system to have already a decided system that we know from the beginning who sits where. So you don't need to queue at 5 o'clock in the morning to have the best seats in the plenary room. Hopefully we will make that happen. Otherwise we will make sure that we get good seats in the plenary room. And it's a good idea as well to bring snacks, because as I said, it could be delayed, and yeah, so you have something to survive the last hours before the coffee breaks and so on. And also they will explain this very well, because there's a lot of people usually it's the first AGM. So if it's your first AGM, don't be nervous. There's a lot of people in the same situation as you. So just ask if there's anything, and they will have a speakers list for the questions where you will walk to the stage and ask the question on a written note, and then ask it to the person. But they will go through this very, very well, so don't worry.
Question about the snacks or whatnot in the plenaries. If there's that many people, is there a list of allergies we should be careful to avoid besides peanuts? I mean, is an obvious one.
No, I haven't heard anything about this. Just that I just heard that last year there was a few NRs having snacks provided to make sure that the delegates had them. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. So
Are we allowed to take something from the breakfast with us as snack?
we haven't talked about it, but I guess it's fine. You will see, but yeah, just sneak it down, I would guess. It's not something they have given information that for the breakfast you can bring something. So yeah, just see how it feels like, I would say. And yeah, also through the plenaries, as AGM is the meeting for the sections, for the section delegates, they keep it at this level, and everything will be thoroughly explained as well. So they don't assume that you have this with knowledge before, even though they hope you have some basic information about it, which will help you. For the international dinner, which takes place on Friday evening, it's part of the social program where the participants from all the countries bring food and drinks. That's special and typical for their country. For example, cinnamon buns from Sweden, meatballs, what else? Yeah, Marabou chocolate from Spain. They bring chorizo and sangria and so on. Also, where you can just go around and discover food and drinking culture of other countries. As there are 39 countries in ESN, you will find a lot of different food and so on. And I would highly recommend you to eat before the international dinner begins. Yeah, it's you may not have the time, but it's a really good idea, because even though the name says international dinner, it's not so much dinner. It starts to be more like that, but it's a lot of drinks usually. And also, as you've seen, we have the Excel sheet where you can contribute with what you will bring, so not everyone ends up bringing cinnamon buns, for example. So we want to have a wider range of Swedish food and drinks. They're also going to have an alcohol limit. It's 1 liter of liquor per 3 delegates, I think it was, and 2 bottles of wine or similar for 3 delegates. I wrote it in the Facebook group as well. So anything more than that, they will not allow that. And just a side note that you should know your own limits, that the next morning you're expected to be in the plenary room when it begins, because it's a quorum check, whether you're hungover or not. As well, they will collect the food on Friday until the second coffee break. So you can leave it there, or if you have fridge food, you can bring it yourself to the international dinner. Same goes with the drinks. The culture show, it's the social program Saturday evening, and the content is still quite unknown what it's going to be. It's going to be some venue, but it's not so much known what it's going to be about. So it's a surprise, I guess. And I would say that the dress code is casual for it. On Sunday we have the info market or mobility fair. You will be provided with a lunchbox. For all the other days, all the food is included. There you should advertise your university and promote it for ESNers and Greek people. They have put a lot of efforts on this info market. They received a grant from the European Student Alumni Association, ESA. So it's really a lot of effort from the OC. So I think it's going to be great, and you're going to promote your university to not only ESNers but also local people. So there you can also, if you want, you can send some picture to your international office where you actually promote your university in front of students from 39 countries. Either send your material or bring it to AGM. And instructions how to send it can be found in the Facebook group. And it's going to be outside, but they have a plan B. Okay. And then the last thing on Sunday is the gala night. As you can see, there's something every night. So after 11 hours of plenaries, there's something in the social program as well. For the gala, it's held on Sunday night after plenaries are over. So it's a really celebration night. There will be a Star Awards ceremony where they will hand out prizes to all the categories. And it's also quite fancy clothing. Usually it's suit or something similar for guys and long dress and high heels for girls. And yeah, this is during all these social programs, and also during the lunch, the dinner, the coffee break. I would really encourage you, and I saw from the expectations that you expect to network a lot and share best practices with sections. For those moments, I would really recommend you or advise you to not only stick to the Swedish delegation, because during the social program, the lunch, coffee break, dinners, that's your possibility to talk to the other people at AGM. Since a lot of the time it's plenaries and there you just sit and listen, it's during these times that you can actually talk to the other people and learn from them. So take this chance, and if you want to hear from others how they do it and so on. Any questions? No? So some of the venues, they will be in two hotels, as you know, and the plenaries are in the main hotel. And yeah, that's about it. And then the social program will be in different places, but they have arranged 20 buses, so you will often be driven around and not have to walk between the venues. And the next point is to go through the topics that you will be voting on at AGM. As I explained before, it's the sections, since you have a vote delegation. You are the one who has a say in the topics. You are the one voting. It's not the national board. It's the sections that are voting. For an exception, it's the international board election. That also the national representatives, they also have a vote. So it's weighted vote for the IB election. But apart from that, everything else is only the sections voting. The topics that will be voted on are, for example, ESN review, which I will tell you more. There are some amendments which we will go through in next call on next Thursday before AGM. Transitional procedures, if it passes, what will be the process. The new logo, and the 3-year plan and the action plan for 2019-2020. A new mission, vision and strategic priorities for ESN. The finances, for example, the budget, the financial report and so on. And also the international board and the next AGM organization committee candidate. And I will tell you more about each of these topics in the upcoming slides. The first one is the most exciting one, of course. It's ESN review, which is the process of changing the current structure of ESN. And I hope you're quite familiar about it. If so, you hopefully will be after this one, because I go through it quite thoroughly, I think, what it is about. For some of you, this is probably something you heard about many times, but I thought it was good to actually take it from the beginning as well. It's been a quite long process for talking about changing the structure of ESN and how it is today, how our structure of organization is doing today. It actually started in 2007, where the long-term vision was discussed, so already 12 years ago. In 2013, the first discussions about changes in the governance structure were discussed, where it just continued to kind of discuss at meetings about a new structure for ESN, the future of the AGM, to make a growth strategy of ESN since we're growing very, very quickly. It was added to the action plan of the international board. They hired some external consultants and so on, and then continued. It was actually worked on already from 2017 to 2018 and presented at last AGM in Costa Brava, but then the sections didn't vote. It didn't reach 2/3 absolute majority. So they continued to work about it for one more year, and I can just add from myself, it's a very big difference from last year, both in content and the process. But why this structural change of the organization? ESN struggles to take proper proposer care of the members, which means that we need to strengthen the national level to be more involved in this part. The decision-making process that we have today is inefficient and it slows, and in some aspects is even illogical. There is a distance today between the voters, the sections, and the policymakers, the CNR. For example, during the whole year, it's the CNR which is discussing topics, and then at AGM is the sections that are finally voting and deciding about it. So those who actually make the decisions, the sections, they don't participate in the discussions during the year, which adds a problem to it. You may notice in your sections as well that there's a high turnover of the volunteers. We changed a lot the people involved in the organization. We have too many meetings in the organization, and that's why reason for ESN review that we want to reduce them. So there's not really enough time to follow up on good ideas, and it also makes it unsustainable. Which is also unsustainable is AGM, because it doesn't fulfill its full potential that it has, that it could be a place where the sections can share best practices with each other, where you can interact, where you can network, where you can just learn from each other instead of having long plenaries. It's also difficult to organize AGM and also conduct quality discussions within it. We have internal issues in the organization, that the AGM focuses more on what's happening internally in ESN and not looking more outside externally. The Council of National Representative, the CNR, which gathers the 39 NRs, it's very packed. There's too many functions on a small group of people, and the power within the organization is not spread out, and the CNR is overwhelmed by its tasks. There's a low engagement, a lot due to the information transfer issues, that not all the members are aware of the internal level matters. For example, a low response rate in consultations and surveys. And also to monitor the work of ESN independently and transparently is difficult. So the content of the proposal that you will be voting on at AGM, it's for example, the first part is membership and governance. How is it proposed? It's proposed to have two kinds of memberships. Today there's one membership that the sections are the only members of ESN. ESN Sweden is not a member of ESN. It's, for example, ESN Skövde, ESN Lund, ESN Växjö, they are the members. ESN review would make that sections are members, they are local members, and national level, for example, ESN Sweden is a national member. It's a national organization, an NO. There would also be a procedure which doesn't really involve you, since we have more than 2 sections in Sweden. There will be rights, duties, and requirements for both the sections and the national organization. There would also be a warning system and expulsion procedure for sections and national organizations if not fulfilling these ones. For example, some different requirements could be to follow the visual identity. Rights could be that you have the right to propose things to a meeting, and so on. Here you see visually how it currently is with organization that the sections have the bottom, and they elect people for the national board and so on. It will still be the same, but the representative is instead from the sections, it would be from the national organization. This kind of system is simpler, it's more efficient, it's more sustainable, and it's more compatible with the average volunteer life cycle, which is really short. The idea is also to have a representative and participatory democracy. But what is a representative? A representative is an expert on the country that knows ESN International and the place of their country. That knows ESN International and the place of their country, yes, that's the same. Has good knowledge of the most important fields, is autonomous in their work, and is accountable for their work. Something new that would be a new addition if the ESN review passes is referendum. This does not exist today, but it's supposed to be a safety net for the sections, since they are not the ones directly in with a direct voting power. So this is a safety net to make sure that actually their voice is still heard and they still have a say in the matter. The first one is an abrogative referendum, which means to revert a decision that's taken that, for example, you don't agree with. If there's a decision, let's say that it's been decided to take away social Erasmus. The sections, you don't agree with it, so you start to call this abrogative referendum in order to revert the decision that has been taken. To order to make it happen, you need to call it from 30% of the sections in ESN. That comes from 15% of the countries. And these numbers are low enough to enable sections to voice their opinions, but they're also high enough to ensure that the system is not abused. And the decision to actually reverse the decision is passed if 50% plus 1 sections participate in the vote, and also if then a 2/3 absolute majority, 66% of the participating sections in the vote, they voted in favor. And it needs to be announced within 1 month to the network after, for example, social Erasmus is taken away. At the moment, in order to overturn a decision that has been taken, it needs 176 sections, which you can see that this is a quite high number, but still it's possible to reach it if enough sections agree with this, that is not, they don't agree with it. As I said, it should be an exception and not a rule, so a safety net. The second one is the one which was formerly called consultative referendum. It was called like this until CNR Krakow in February, where it changed name after an amendment from ESN Switzerland to call it section consultation. It's a facultative participatory procedure, which means something which you would do if you want to ask the sections about your opinion on a topic. For example, the international level, they want to know if sections think it's a good idea to take away social harassment. So they are curious and they want to know about this before they actually make it happen. It takes place online, or it would take place online. And they can have 2 or more questions that are voted on at the same time. And it's announced by the International Board or the General Assembly, which I will come back to later, at any time. And the result is not binding. It's just consultative. And the result kind of guides the decision that the International Board or the General Assembly will take. And then we also have a new edition, which is the Sections Initiative, which is a procedure in order to add a topic to the agenda of the General Assembly, which I will tell more about you later what that is. That will be the meeting that will replace AGM and also the Council of National Representatives. So if a section want to have a topic to the agenda in the future, they could either ask their national organization. So ESN Göteborg, they want to have a topic on the agenda. They ask their national organization, ESN Sweden, if they can have this topic on the agenda. ESN Sweden doesn't agree, so they refuse to add a topic on their behalf. The section still, ESN Gothenburg, they still want to bring this up, so they let the coordinating team know that they want to have this on the agenda, and afterwards ask for support from the rest of the network. The other sections, which also agree with this, that it should be brought up, they let the coordinating team know of the support. In order to have it brought up, it needs to reach 10% of the sections from 10% of the national organizations that support it. It also needs to happen within 1 year of the process and latest 30 days before the meeting takes place. And they will add it to the meeting agenda if it reaches the support. However, they can refuse to add a topic to the agenda, but then they also need to inform the sections, the General Assembly, and the International Board and state why they refused it. The decision can be overruled either way. And the section that proposed the topic from the beginning have to appoint a representative to present the topic, and that could then receive a special spot for the meeting. But why does the coordinating team, the people sharing the meeting, still have to approve it? Because they are an independent body and they are supposed to be an unbiased body, and they have the authority to create the agenda for the meeting. Because also in a no logical system can this authority be surpassed, neither by a section, by the International Board, or by anybody else if it's unsatisfied. And also then the meeting, the General Assembly, can remove the coordinating team. As well, a new addition since CNR Krakow in February was an amendment from Belgium, Romania and Netherlands, that if a topic received 25% of the sections from at least 25% of a national organization, if this amount supports the topic, it shall be added to the agenda and can't be refused. The General Assembly, the new statutory meeting replacing CNRs and AGM. It would be the highest decision-making body. Today, that's AGM. It would take place 2 times per year, spring and autumn. Countries would have to have the possibility to send 3 people. And ESN International would not interfere with who will press the voting button as long as the official legal representative formally delegates the vote to this person. And a legal representative would be the president. It will last for 3 days, but it can be longer as well. And this is kind of how the task would change from how it is today. On the left is the CNR, what all the NRs are doing today, which will kind of be divided into different bodies and different positions. How can we go from having, we have 6, if you include AGM meetings per year for the CNR, which also connect to that the CNR, me as an NR, I'm not the one taking decision, because that's the sections at AGM, but still we have 6 meetings per year. So how can we reduce it to only having 2? Let's have a look at the calendar of events today. This is our calendar, or how it's proposed to be. The statutory meeting would be twice, in May and in November. There would also be the international committees and the teams meeting. For example, the International Committee for Education, Finance Committee meeting, Communication Committee meeting, and so on. They would have the Educate, the non-formal education program, ESN card, Moving Europe meeting, Social Inclusion meeting, and so on. Then we'd also have trainings and other strategy meetings. For example, national board meetings, business and finance community, communication summit, IT community meeting, and so on. And we would also have the meetings for the local level, which would be a new meeting replacing AGM, which would be EGM, Erasmus Generation Meeting. And you will, in the fall, have the regional platforms, where sections go and meet other sections in the same region. So as you see here, it's still quite full. How often will the national board meet the international board? All of these meetings are possible to meet between the national and international level. And some national board members are also members of committees, so they could even meet more often. And how often will the local members meet with the international board? If you're a member of a committee, you could meet them at all these events. But also the national organization could decide that they could meet, they could join the general assemblies and other meetings as well. And also there's a lot of time needed for preparations for meetings and also to follow up. We would have the general assemblies here. The registration would open in January. Deadline with proposed topics could happen a few months before. Send in documents, time for the working groups to work, and also time for having the national platforms, the new national assemblies, which means a lot of times to work before the General Assembly. So it's a lot of work. And you also have the other meetings taking place at the same time. So, a recap. This would be the new event calendar. And apart from this, you would also have 5 Educate trainings. There will be other external meetings, project meetings, meetings with the Secretariat of ESN International, board strategy meetings, the Insight Days if you want to apply for the International Board, and many more. Almost all weekends are still booked, even though we're reducing the amount of events. And the very few that are left are for national meetings and national events. Voting procedures, how it's proposed to change the voting system. This is how it is today. We have 4 different voting systems. This brings up 2 of them. Today there's at AGM, For proposals and everything else, it's 100% the sections vote. Apart from the international board elections, where also the countries through the national representative have a vote. For the CNR, all the countries have one vote. For example, no matter how many sections that you have the same vote. There will be a proposed formula instead, and that will be the voting weight for the general assemblies, where you would divide the number of sections in a national organization with a total number of sections plus 1 divided towards the total number of national organizations. And it will change the voting power. Here you can actually see how ESN Sweden, since we have 15 sections, what our voting weight would be. We would kind of still keep the same voting weight. R does not change so much, since we have at CNR 2.56, and we kind of end up in the between that we have today. It's more different if you have more sections or if you have less sections. And the system makes it simple and fair to everyone. The Erasmus Generation Meeting, the EGM. It's on the left you see how an agenda is for AGM today, that it's not so interactive at all. It's mainly listening to presentations and proposals and candidates. For the EGM in the future, it's a lot more, the idea is to have a lot more interactive sessions, to meet your colleagues, to best practice share with them, be part of consultations, to listen to board presentations, to get to know the international board interactively, have working sessions, workshops, keynote speakers, mobility fairs, and so on. Because the content of the event focuses on fulfilling our mission of ESN. There will be more opportunities for knowledge exchange and interaction, and also more opportunities for fundraising of the event. The local volunteers would also have more time to discuss issues that are more connected to daily operations. And you can also create outcomes like Erasmus Plus grant applications or new projects. It could also grow a lot more and become more relevant. AGM today does not fulfill its purpose or potential. And local volunteers can also be involved in topics of ESN International, and new partnerships can be created, and also the event will be easier to organize. Because it's been quite difficult recently to find an OC who want to take on the role to host an AGM. A question which has brought up is why the sections can't vote for the international board at the EGM, why that can only happen at the General Assembly. This is because it's not legally possible unless the EGM becomes a body, which makes it an AGM, and we're back to the same place where we are today. There's also something which were approved yesterday, approved last year in Costa Brava. It's an audit commission and arbitration board. This is something we don't have today. They will have the first open call now, currently. It's audit commission who would do the financial audit of the organization, and arbitration board which would handle conflicts and mediations between members. So, the summary of the proposal is the bodies of ESN are the General Assembly, the statutory meeting and highest decision-making body, the International Board, the Audit Commission doing financial audit, the Arbitration Board handling conflicts and mediations. There will be a dual membership. Sections and countries would be members of ESN. Voting procedures is a weighted vote based on the number of sections. And the controlling bodies are, as mentioned, the Audit Commission and the Arbitration Board, which dispute resolutions. Sections have rights and requirements, plus the sections initiative to make sure that you can add a topic to the agenda. There's also the referendum and the section's consultation to revert the decision and be asked about the opinion on a matter. The national organization also has rights and requirements. The Erasmus Generation is a new meeting, a large congress for all the members. And the General Assemblies are 2 meetings per year and the size of a CND, 3 people per country. So that's ESN review in a nutshell. Do you have any questions about it? Or concern or comments or anything that you wish to share? If you're still there.
More like an organizational question and your personal perspective. As the sections will be consulted for the votes, how do you think would be the best way, maybe for ESN Sweden, to make sure that all the sections are informed enough before they vote?
There's actually an amendment about this from ESN Switzerland at the moment, which want to make sure that there are established procedures for section consultation, and that they would have to have the results of the consultations available before the General Assembly. Apart from that, I think it quite depends how the consultations will happen. They would for sure happen before the General Assembly, since but in the how, it's another matter. I think that's kind of, as there's no really strict guidelines on that in the proposal, it's quite up to the countries itself to establish their procedure. If not, ESN Switzerland's proposal is amendment is approved. I have added the amendments as well in the Drive folder, and we will talk about them next week. Nope, nothing else. They will tell you everything you need to know, but it's good to, if you're not so into the topic, that you know quite what it's about, and also talk to your section about it, and make up an idea how you will vote about it. It will be one proposal, everything combined, from the international board, who has been forming this proposal, and then consulted the countries during this year. Nothing else? Then I will move on to the next part. Then we have also the logo proposal, to review renewing the current logo of ESN. The key points of this process is it has been during the CNRs. If I say an abbreviation that you don't understand, just stop me. It's been qualitative and quantitative surveys and about it, what members think about the current logo. There's been other consultations as well. There's been cooperation with a Dutch company, which is the one that made the current logo. It was outsourced to a graphic company that made it. Actually, they don't exist today, which is another point. Yeah, that's another interesting story. So today the company doesn't exist. There was a proposal at last AGM for the logo, which was not supported. This was a reflection and a new approach after that. And there's also been opinion polls and interactive sessions. But why do we need this logo update? Because the current logo we have today, it's, according to the consultations, it's too complex, outdated, easy to misuse, it's difficult to read in small sizes, and it's difficult to print on merchandise. I guess some of you have experienced issues with the logo. I assume you have. This is our logo we have today. The opinions were to keep the star, but modify it to take away the I, because it's kind of going towards this I love New York feeling. The font is outdated, it needs an update, and also take away the International Exchange Erasmus Student Network. And also upside down, it's USA, if you noticed it before. As mentioned, the majority of ESNers experience problems when using the logo, according to the consultations. And there's no real clear link, an understandable link between ESN projects, committees, sections, and countries. The visual identity does not imply being one organization when you look through visuals of sections across Europe. For example, here you see just very random Facebook photo covers of ESN sections and countries, and then you see from ISEC, which is another organization, and they kind of keeping the same. It's easy to identify the ISEC, while you see for ESN it's very different and not so recognizable. Same goes for ISHE, which is also another international youth organization. And also same for ELSA, which is European Law Student Association. And these three organizations are much more visible thanks to their, they're much more recognizable for the visuals than ESN sections are in countries. The current system features too many brands, which leads to confusion as well. This is a picture as well from a Facebook post. And also here you can add all these logos and create a lot of confusion. For example, it was in Brussels, where someone from the EU approached the international board and said, "Hey, you should be working with social Erasmus. It's such a cool project, and ESN would be so good together with it." Well, it's ESN's project, but yeah. So there's not really this clear connection between the brand and the project and so on, and ESN. And also the current system does not allow to create the recognition for the ESN brand. How many sections would you think that these are the visuals for? Someone would have a guess. Okay, sorry. There's actually no sections logo here, even though people usually guess that there are some, since there's often in the logo there's a mascot or something else on the ESN sections logos. The question is often, why did ESN commission an external company to make the new logo? It was because the logo contest in the network had various results. The process also allowed ESN to realize important lessons about the branding. And the company, Covet and Postma, which does not exist today, since 2 months or something, they have worked on the current logo, which was approved in 2006. And despite being expensive, the price was actually fair for this scale of rebranding by professionals. Now they have added, since Covid and Postma does not exist today, they have added to consult ESNers with design and strategic experience. And they have Jan Ruby, who is a freelancer, and he was the chair of the communication committee, and he's also the Move in Europe alumni. And he also made these 3 logos. Why does this fly away? He made Move in Europe, he made Social Erasmus, and he made Educate logo. So he has some experience, and that's why he is helping out now since February, I think. Why costume section symbols are not part of the system? This is because with additional costume elements, the system becomes much more complex, while simplicity is one of the main goals for the logo. There is the risk of more visual identity manual violations. To also add a possibility of costumes elements would not lead to increased recognition of ESN around Europe, which is the aim. And there's also a chance for this to be a big step in the right direction for the organization. Votings were done at the regional platforms. For those of you who were there, you voted on how you prefer the logo to be. This was about the logo alignment, the main font, and also the shape of the star. So general conclusions and remarks are that the network is still very conservative towards the brand of ESN. For example, change without changing anything. Expressing sections' individual identity is one of the most challenges. Are we one, actually? And also consulting over 600 volunteers about design matters is extremely complex. But we will go through it. So if the logo proposal, which I don't know if you've seen yet, but if it's approved at AGM, there will be some transitions procedures in order to adapt to the new logo. There will be calls with the countries to help them adapt. There will be a grace period for the national level in order to adapt fully to the new logo. That will be 1 year and 3 months until July 2020. For the local level, it's another grace period. There will be 2 years and 3 months until July 2021, until the sections should have fully adapted to the new logo. There will be support from the communication community and also from the communication committee. So here you see kind of a timeline for the countries, since the sections would have 1 more year from the handover in July. The general direction for the logo is to have simplicity, and that's the main focus. For example, it's been mentioned that the logo should be drawable by ESNers. The logo has to work in both big and small sizes. They need slimmer element scale for it. Should stick to the elements which create a familiar feeling. Negative space, same order of the colors. And this is how it looks. This is the proposal that you will be voting on at AGM. This is how a country logo would look like, and this is how a section logo will look like. And this is really cool, this one, actually. For example, I don't know if you try this, anyone, but you could see how your section logo could look like. And here you see some comparison from today and the proposed logo. And in the bottom, this one was the proposal that was made last year, which did not receive support at AGM in Costa Brava. So it's been some development since then, and one of the main issues was the overlap here between the colors, which was listened to, and they made this white circle in the middle. And if you would have more communication related questions, how graphics work and so on, feel free to contact Mary, the communication manager. I can answer some questions, but if it's really communication focused, she may know the answer better. Do you have any questions about this part, or comments or ideas or anything what you think about? This is maybe a bit easier to grasp since you see the logo and it's not like the like ESN review, that it's a complex process and a structural change and not something just visual. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Any reactions of the proposal?
I like it, especially because I don't know, when they presented the logo last year, they were saying, yeah, we shouldn't have an overlap of colors, and then there was an overlap of colors in the new proposal for the logo. So I think it's quite nice that a lot of people, probably not only me, but a lot of people were pushing for that. So that's quite nice. One thing, I know I kind of should know this because I'm in SCOMCOM, but I'm getting a bit confused because there are so many different updates. Is there a document where it's currently mentioned whether it's a requirement for the local sections to also adapt the names? So, for example, for ESN BTH and VECO?
Well, their aim is, of course, to make... this was discussed because in Netherlands they are often called ISN, so International Student Network, instead of Erasmus. Their goal is that every section will be called ESN, either university or the city.
So BTH could basically stay the same because they are named after the university, but we would have to change.
As far as I know, yeah. Because there's a lot of sections having their university name.
Yeah,
but it's more
I see,
this,
especially when there's more than one section.
It's more this when there some countries have ESN buddy system something. But yeah, that's hopefully I think Mary can better answer that. But I think it could either be that you need to change. That's their aim to have, because then it shows more the brand of ESN as well. That it's clear that it's an ESN section.
And is there also support provided either by the national or by the international level when it comes to legal stuff, when you have to change the name and so on, and you're currently legally registered with a different name? Is that something that the national level is going to take care of, or are there sections by themselves in this regard?
The sections would have support from the national level. If they would reach out and tell about what they would need help with, NO would do the best to help.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Disliking, liking, neutral?
Our section talked about this last meeting, and we're all pretty much unanimously in favor of this change. It looks like a great proposal.
Cool.
I can't remember where it was. I can't remember where it was that I saw it in one of the documents, but one of the images, it had the name of the section in the centered in the middle of the logo, opposed to its side. So is everything just going to be to the right hand side of the logo, or is there options of it to be in the center or something?
This was a discussion that was the past months that should it be on the left, should it be in the middle, should it be in the right, but now it's decided to have it on the right, so like this.
Yeah, okay.
But it's probably in a picture from just 1 or 2 months, I think, that it was actually an idea to have it in the middle or the left.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Then I will continue to the next thing. Some other documents that you will need to vote on as well, apart from ESN review, apart from the logo, is the 3-year plan and the action plan for 2019-2020 for the international board and for a 3-year plan of ESN. And let's just start with the 3-year plan. It's primarily built on the framework for our vision for 2019-2025, which I will come back to in later. I don't know why I made this order. The new vision of ESN is by 2025, ESN will be the global network of the Erasmus generation, committed to improving international education and providing self-development opportunities to 2 million young people, fostering intercultural understanding and creating positive change in society. I will tell you more about this new vision in a bit. In addition, it also reflects the goals outlined in the strategic priorities, which I will also come back to later. I'll leave a cliffhanger. With regards to students, exchange programs, activity and services, visibility and outreach, and volunteers and governance. This is in order to prepare ESN for any future societal changes and ensure that ESN continues to fulfill its mission. Because in the next 3 upcoming years, there will be a transition into a new cycle of the Erasmus Plus program, and ESN will play a crucial stakeholder to support the development of the program and also the implementation that the changes will come with it. With the new Erasmus Plus program, can expect more students from all over the world, because the idea with the Erasmus Plus program, the next one, is to go global. And also other educational sectors, not only higher education, probably as well vocational training, and also increasingly digital learning environments and also administration processes to make it more digital. And also a different generation of students with different needs and expectations will join us. Also, other exchange programs are expected to also increase in importance. Also, the job market suffers important transformations, demanding new sets of skills and competences from the people. And during the meantime, the world is also changing, facing important challenges, which ESN must be able to address and build upon. The work is also to further develop a secretariat. There are people who work full-time, who are employed by ESN and work in Brussels and get paid for that. And also to develop the support structures, which will in turn serve the network and support its progress at all levels. It's also aimed to strengthen the financial capacity of ESN to guarantee the necessary sustainability to cope with any challenge. Also, in order to support the next generation of international students, there will be a strong focus on enhanced digital service provision and also supporting an increased and more diverse group of students. The policy work will need to be more connected with the causes of ESN in order to increase the impact of our actions under a more united brand. And finally, to ensure continuity and knowledge retention within the network, then a large focus is placed on human resources as one of the most valuable resources in ESN, because without the people, there's no organization. And the first thing is students. That this is the 3-year plan until 2022, that ESN will empower future alumni and current international students to be ambassador of intercultural understanding and active citizenship, sharing the value of unity and diversity. ESN will also provide opportunities to share these values through volunteering activities, while in exchange spreading the positive impact of international student mobility among local communities. Exchange programs. For that, ESN will work to increase the quantity and quality of study abroad programs around the world, advocating for an equitable provision of opportunities to all young people. A focus will also be placed on their personal and professional development through increasingly internationalized curricula with a stronger relevance of non-formal and informal learning. Activities and services until 2022. ESN's activities and services at all levels will increase in quality, becoming more inclusive and achieving measurable impact in society. These will be available to students from all backgrounds, fostering their local integration and reintegration upon return, increasing the impact of the experience before, during and after mobility. What about the visibility of outreach of ESN until 2022? Until 2022, ESN will build a globally recognizable brand, increasing its visibility and outreach, and fostering positive image of international exchange. By doing so, ESN will connect with a more diverse set of stakeholders, further supporting the internationalization of education. Volunteers, the people, the goal of ESN. ESN volunteers and alumni will be recognized leaders of the Erasmus generation, sharing the common mission of enriching society through international students. ESN will also provide its volunteers with transferable skills and competences acquired through self-development opportunities and empower them to actively engage in the organization. Governance, finally. ESN will be a more interconnected and self-sustainable network with a strong membership and an efficient structure. All internal processes will be transparent and open to all members, generating with the needed flexibility and adaptability for ESN to cope with constant change in society. This is the long-term plan, 2019-2022. You find it also as a document which you can read. It's not so long as well, to get more points how these sub-actions can be achieved. Now I just went quite quickly through them, so to kind of give you an overview of what it's about. Do you have any questions before I continue with next? The action plan is what sets out what the international board should be doing during their mandate. They are elected from July 2019 to July 2020. And it describes what they should be doing and focusing during their mandate. And this document also has a lot of sub-actions, and I just took the titles for this one. And this is also, as all the other documents, this is approved as well by the sections, and it will be presented as well with a question round at AGM. ESN has grown in the past years in all its fields. The same has happened also to the Erasmus Plus program and student exchanges in general. More people from more diverse backgrounds are today requesting support of ESN at all levels. These factors, they put additional pressure on the membership and all the governance structures which require more communication, more tools and more financing in order to fulfill ESN's mission and in society. The action plan in the context of a renewed vision and strategic priorities and of the new 3-year plan, they aim to provide a network with a capacity to grow in this scenario while also having a strong focus on the sustainability of the organization. The action plan, it's proposed to the AGM in Thessaloniki and it includes general actions and sub-actions. The board, the international board that is now finishing their mandates, they propose a general plan throughout the year. Further actions can be added by the newly elected board by the approval of the CNR. They have some titles. The first one is Sustainable Headquarters, meaning the ESN office, the secretariat, and the supporting structures, the teams that are supporting the board. During the next upcoming year, the Secretariat is expected to continue to expand. They already, since this international board started working, they have a lot more interns, both European Voluntary Service and European Solidarity Corps. There will be new permanent positions needed to support the board and network in its growth, and the increasing number of staff members demands more automated and streamlined internal processes. This is very internal thing then. Also, other supporting structures are expected to be reviewed in the next year to meet the needs of a growing network. ESN is not stopping to grow, we're just growing more and more. Finances and partnerships. With the continuous growth of ESN and its activities comes the growing need for financial sustainability. ESN is today very dependent on grants. But this can be achieved by continuously working towards a further diversification and expansion of the existing financial resources and by investing in the development of alternative revenue sources. Also, the focus is on further developing ESN's capacity to build revenue from private resources and expanding public funding within the Secretariat, the headquarters, and the network. Network governance, development, and quality assurance. How does the section and countries develop? How are they governed, and also how do they achieve quality? So in order to empower the network, the International Board recognized that the importance of investing in both for the development of local and national organizations, as well as the volunteers as individuals. To ensure the quality of the network as a whole, it is also important to put an emphasis on the core activity of ESN and the impact it has on society, but also internally. We have IT and services as well. The demands and expectations around ESN services, both for the network and for the international students, has continued to grow along with our active involvement in various projects. For example, the ESN card website, that has been a very high expectations, both from the network and also from the students. Also, this directly and indirectly has an impact on our IT efforts and infrastructure. And the IT efforts is there's very few people in IT active in ESN, which is a very high con. And ESN's external relations, communication, education, and youth policy. At the international level, ESN is very much involved in education and youth policy and is always consulted among stakeholders. The internal education requires a strong and unified message which must be based on the empowerment of the education and communication teams and communities. And there, ESN has to continue to strengthen its message by continuously adapting a positive and consistent image in society and further developing its communication and representation capacity at all levels. That was the action plan. Do you have something you wish to add or comment or anything? As I said, I will also go through it more in depth, what everything is about, but it's more so you have an overview and you heard it and you can look at the documents, what it's about. Okay, then I continue with the mission, vision, and strategic priorities. The vision. There has been extensive consultations at all levels of the network throughout this year, and that's why the International Board is putting forward a new vision to be accomplished within the upcoming 6 years until 2025. This is a vision that describes the desire, the preferred future state of an organization, and should be present, and therefore should present attainable goals and be time-bound. Our current vision is the enrichment of society through international students. There's no time bound here, it's not measurable, and it's unattainable. How do you measure if you have achieved the vision of enrichment of society through international students? When will it be achieved? That's why they're proposing a new vision, which builds on the existing one, adding specific goals, a time frame, as well taking into account the input from the consultations. And this is what I mentioned before, that by 2025, ESN will be the global network of the Erasmus generation, committed to improving international education and providing self-development opportunities to 2 million young people, fostering intercultural understanding and creating positive change in society. Do you have any comments about this one? To change from enrichments of society through international students. Do you think it's possible, but by 2025, ESN will be a global network of the Erasmus generation?
I think it's certainly possible that we could hit that scale. I think that the term positive change is a bit vague, so I mean it's entirely subjective, but it's a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also think it's nice goals, but it's not really something that is a lot more graspable than the previous version.
So this thing what was mentioned before from the source, that it needs to have a what and where. The what is the global network of the Erasmus generation. It's a reference to ESN as a network of people. And by being a network of people, we are the leaders of a movement of a whole new generation of humans, composed mainly of international students and ESN volunteers who shares the same value of love for diversity. And as a generation that will become the leaders of the world of tomorrow. And the word global can, but it does not have to, refer to ESN organizations around the world. How? It's committed to improving international education and providing self-development opportunities. We will become the global network of Erasmus generation by supporting the internationalization of education with our work at all levels of ESN, from the work of local sections on thousands of campuses to the advocacy efforts of ESN in Brussels. We foster the acquisition of a certain set of skills that defines the Erasmus generation. We develop leadership, intercultural understanding, active citizenship, and critical thinking, among others. Who? It's about 2 million people. This number is from the section questionnaire of 2018, that ESN currently has around 13,000 volunteers, who in turn are working for 300,000 students. Quite some numbers. The higher education is the focus, but ESN can continue following the trend of expanding our services beyond the sector. For example, to vet vocational education training, and in the end as well maybe even reach young people, all young people. And the numbers stated, they are referring to international students and ESN volunteers combined, and it's the total goal for the whole cycle, meaning that it should be reached by 2025. And also by having an attainable goal set in the vision statement, we are sure that to be able to measure our progress both from qualitative and quantitative approaches. Why though? Because fostering intercultural understanding and creating positive change in society. We believe that ultimately, by achieving all of the above, ESN will help to create a better world truly united in diversity. Very pretty words. And that is also why we develop a global movement and work to improve international education and provide opportunities for development for 2 million young people. The mission. Okay, that's wrong. A mission is the core reason for the existence of the organization and therefore has no expiration date. The mission of ESN has been the same since the beginning and will likely remain the same for many years to come. When you reflect on the current mission, vision and values, it becomes clear that ESN's mission is equal to the current vision statement. And for this reason, the new proposed mission of ESN is exactly the same sentence today's vision. Enrichments of society for international students. And then the values of ESN are not tackled in this proposal. Something you want to add about this, or questions, comments, or anything? Okay, then I continue on. We're pretty much soon done, I hope. And the strategic priorities in 2019-2025. Today, there's no strategic priorities in ESN, so this is something new as well. This was mentioned before, I don't remember what it was about, abbreviation. Strategic priorities are broad statements that define the areas of work needed to bridge the gap between the present and the preferred future state of the organization. These strategic priorities should have the same time frame as the vision, and they should help achieve the vision while also outlining what needs to be the focus for the next 6 years. And this does not mean that tasks outside of this framework are not important, it just means that the network as a whole agrees to focus on specific points set. And the proposed strategic priorities for 2019-2025 would be students, that ESN will empower future alumni and current international students to be ambassadors of intercultural understanding and active citizenship, sharing the value of unity and diversity. We'll provide opportunities to share these values through volunteering activities while on exchange, spreading the positive impact of international student mobility among local communities. So as you see, these are very connected. These are the same as in the long-term, in the 3-year plan. These are the same titles. Exchange programs. ESN will work to increase the quantitative and quality of study abroad programs around the world, advocating for an equitable provision of opportunities to all young people. A focus will also be placed on their personal and professional development through increasingly internationalized curricula with a stronger relevance of non-formal and informal learning. Exchange programs. ESN will work to increase the quantity and the quality of study abroad programs around the world. Okay, this is the same slide, sorry. Activity and services. ESN's activities and services at all levels will increase in quality, becoming more inclusive and achieving measurable impact in society. They will be available to students from all backgrounds, fostering their local integration and reintegration upon return, increasing the impact of the experience before, during, and after mobility. Visibility and outreach. ESN will build a globally recognizable brand, which kind of goes in line with the logo proposal, increasing its visibility and outreach and fostering a positive image of international exchange. By doing so, ESN will connect with a more diverse set of stakeholders, further supporting internationalization of education. Volunteers. ESN volunteers and alumni will be the recognized leaders of the Erasmus generation, sharing the common mission of enriching society for international students. ESN will provide its volunteers with transferable skills and competences acquired through self-development opportunities and empower them to actively engage in the organization. Governance. ESN will be an interconnected and self-sustainable network with a strong membership and an efficient structure. All internal processes will be transparent and open to all members, generating the needed flexibility and adaptability for ESN to cope with constant change in society. As you see here, it's the strategic priorities and the long-term plan for the 3-year plan is very much connected, both the content and the titles. So they kind of goes hand in hand there. The proposed priorities and vision statement are the result of a lengthy reflection process that the board conducted throughout the year. They aim to inspire the next generations of ESN members while also providing the organization with a more strategic structure that all levels of ESN can contribute to. The board truly wishes to see them all fully accomplished by 2025, if not before. We are certain that the network can successfully achieve all of them. And something you wish to add about it? Otherwise, I would recommend you to just read through the action plan, the long-term, the 3-year plan, and also the strategic priorities to take it in after you just got an overview here. These all 3 documents kind of just explains how ESN should be working in the upcoming 1, 3, and 6 years. For the finances as well, we're not going to have so much fun that we're going to go through numbers. I'm just going to tell you what it's about. At AGM Thessaloniki, you will be voting on the financial report, the budget proposal for, this is wrong, this is supposed to be 2019, and also the internal audit report that has been conducted. So you'll be voting on this. These are available documents that you can also read. I'm going to ask Oscar, the National Treasurer, if he can also give some kind of statement, as I'm not into numbers. But these will also be presented and voted on. And finally, now to the more fun part with people, the people who are candidating for the International Board and also the AGM OC candidate for next year. The International Board is 5 people who are working full-time or volunteering full-time in Brussels, living and working there, and being in the International Board. So we have the current International Board. It has been doing it for 2 mandates, and they're now ending it in July. So we have 5 new people who are, or 5 positions that they're now applying for. For President, we have Kostis. He's from Greece, from Thessaloniki. He is currently a Blue Book trainee at the European Commission. He is the president of ESN Greece, which has been for 2 mandates. He was the national event manager, the head of the OC of the Crete trip, which is their national event, is opposite to Sea Battle, but in Greece. And they go around to the islands instead of a cruise. And he's a member of the International Committee for Education. And he has a master in scientific study and of religion. He also did one of his Erasmus was in Sweden. He was an Erasmus student in Lund. That's cool. And also for them, they will be presenting on stage. There will be a question round. They also you can find all their motivation letters and CVs as well on the drive. And I really encourage you to read them, at least their priorities, what they wish to accomplish. Then we have Maggie from Czech Republic. She is currently a freelance trainer. She's an educator facilitator, delivering non-formal education workshops. She is the Youth Rights Coordinator for ICE, the International Committee of Education. She is currently also the National Education Officer in Czech Republic. And she was the NR of ESN Czech Republic for 1 year. And she has a bachelor degree in civil engineering. For Vice President, we have 4 people candidating. We have Noor from ESN Italy. Some of you met her in Karlskrona. She is currently the national representative of ESN Italy. She has been so for 2 mandates. She is member of the membership team that's part of the network care team, helping our candidate sections in Albania and Ukraine. She is a member of the communication task force. She is a network care committee member of ESN Italy and alumnus of network committee, the international committee. She was the vice head for Southwestern European platform in Milano in 2017. And she has an architecture degree and master of communication design. We have Pedro from ESN Portugal. He's currently the vice president of ESN Portugal. He has done so for 2 mandates now. He was part of the OC of the national event of ESN Portugal. He has a master in organization psychology, and he's worked as a human resources recruiter and operations manager. We have Richard from France. He is the current communication committee, ComCom chair. He has 2 mandates in the national board of ESN France as NR and national communication manager. He has 3 years of what they call board of directors of ESN France. 2 times he's been a national coordinator in ESN France. He has a Bachelor of Law and Economics, a double master in law, and postgrad in finance and criminal law. He is an HR manager of the biggest 130,000 people esports community in France. We have Tajana, who's from Croatia. She is the current national board coordinator, which coordinates the national board more or less. She's the former NR and vice president of ESN Croatia. And she's also former press team coordinator in ComCom. She has a master's in culture studies and culture management. For treasurer, there was no application received within a deadline, but I heard rumors there will be 1 application which will be sent out next week. For communication manager, we have 2 applications. We have Dora from Romania. She's currently the NR of ESN Romania. She's the former national communication manager of ESN Romania. She's a ComCom member of the rebranding team and corporate identity team. She has a master degree in entrepreneurship and business administration. And she worked as a researcher in Kantar, Millward, Brown, what that is. We have Sabina from Romania as well. So we have 2 people for the same position from Romania. Gonna be interesting. She is the vice chair for media in ComCom, one of the highest positions in ComCom. And she's a member of the press team. She's the former vice president of ESN Romania. She has a master degree in communication campaigns in PR and advertising. And she worked in PR agencies in Romania. And finally, we have the web project administrator. For that, we have Kaspars from Latvia. He is currently the vice chair for maintenance in IT committee. He's the former president and WPA of ESN Latvia. And he's studying engineering science in computer control and computer science. We have the candidate blog, which Guillaume posted in the chat today, that you can ask questions to the international board if you have any. Just feel free to reach out to me or the other people in the national board if you want to ask a question that you wanna have a double eye on it and so on. We will also be available at AGM if you want to proofread your question before you go on stage to ask it. And here you can also, if you click on the candidates for international board, you will see a summary which says why me and also their priorities if being elected. And also, I didn't add it here, I forgot. We also have a candidate for the international events for AGM next year, and that's AGM Sweden. And you are very invited to read the application. We are a few members who go to AGM who are part of the OC. For example, Javed is the head of the OC, so just if there are any questions, just let us know. We're happy to answer them. And also at MP in Karlskrona, this was also voted on and supported by the sections that were present to support AGM Sweden. Do you have any questions about the candidates or anything? I will give you at AGM. I will let you read their motivation letters and applications. Is very interesting because they have a lot of ideas and they are very, very motivated for this, all of them. But I've also invited you to just listen to their presentations when they are presenting during 6 minutes at AGM. And then I will let you form an opinion about them or with your section. And then I will share my personal because I know all of them very well.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
As usually as a candidate for the international board of ESN, you are supposed to check whether you got the support of the national level to support the candidacy.
Mm-hmm.
As we have do you know whether they all received this, especially for the communication manager, because it's two people from the same country?
This was discussed how they were going to do with it. Same with our NR votes for Romania, since they are two people and Dora could vote for herself, but they will let the sections decide who to vote for. I think also the support letters has been sent in to the international to the sharing team, the coordinating team, but it hasn't been public, the support letters. But some countries has officially announced the support. For example, at the Italian MP, they wrote afterwards that we have supported Noor for the position of vice president, and so on. But nothing more public like that. Same with Portugal. Same with France. Same with Croatia, Greece as well. Yeah. But it has,
yeah, sorry.
no, it hasn't just been public, like in a document that you can see the support letter.
And I also have another question, because what we usually do in our local board is, even though I'm the person who's going to AGM, I usually consult the section board members beforehand to check about their opinion, which is now in this case quite difficult. Because I cannot give any personal opinion of like, oh yeah, I know this guy, because the only people I know now are Noor and the WPA candidate Kaspers. So how would you recommend us to proceed with this? Should we just see what kind of impression we get during AGM and then maybe discuss it with the people from our board who have been active in the live stream, or how would you recommend us to proceed?
I would recommend you to invite your board to read their applications, because there's a lot of information there, and I don't think 6 minutes is enough to judge them for. I think you should also have the background of the motivation letter. If your board want to, you could kind of form an opinion, and then also have the presence at AGM also matter, because you could get an idea of the person, how it fits. I can take from personally, like when I went in Germany, I read the two people who applied for president and felt really to vote for another one than Joao Pinto, who's now elected, because I really liked her ideas and what she wanted to do. But at AGM, I really felt that our current president of ESN, Joao Pinto, that he is a president. So there, I switched my opinion for that. So I would suggest you to actually to have an overview, you know what it's about, if they have some inputs. But then also, I think it's important also that your board trusts you, that you make a good decision as well. To not have everything set in stone, because at AGM there's a lot of things, the question rounds and so on. So I think it's good to actually have a bit open mind for the elections. And I will not share, I have, as I said, I have opinions, and I will myself be voted on it, and I know already now who I will be voted for, but I will share that with you during the national platform, so you at least seen their presentations. How does that sound?
Yeah, Yeah, sounds good. I mean, it's not that my local board doesn't trust me. If it would be according to them, then probably I would take all decisions by myself. But I really try to involve them as much as possible, because I think it's just important, because those decisions will also affect how they will continue their work in a local level.
Otherwise, just have a look at their motivation letters there, or their here on the blog you find it, and in the handbook I copy pasted from the blog, just their priorities, and see what you feel is right, and also during AGM as well. So we have just some final things before we're done. It's some guidelines and the code of conduct. I'm not sure if you all have heard about the code of conduct, so that's why I want to go through it. The code of conduct is a document that was approved 2 years at AGM, which kind of it's guidelines and for how to behave in the organization, more or less. Which the document kind of states that ESN is committed to promoting equality of opportunities for all, and to ensuring that no individual is discriminated against in the planning and delivery of any of the projects of the activities. The code applies to any individual, organization or group participating in any activity of ESN International, and covers conduct at all meetings and events, all ESN related online activity, and all external representation of ESN. Our policy extends to, but is not limited by, discrimination on the basis of age, disabilities or impairments of any kind, education and socioeconomic background, ethics and values, political or religious beliefs, gender including sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or gender expression, language and literacy, physical appearance, race including color, nationality, ethnic or national origin, and role or experience within ESN. Individuals should be respectful and constructive in their communication and engagement with others. ESN will not tolerate any instance of verbally or physically aggressive behavior. Violation of this code should be reported to the designated point of conduct and will be dealt with according to the relevant procedures. At AGM, they will be announcing who is the point of contact. It's the coordinating team and the international board. The point of contact is responsible for ensuring that all parties present are aware of their rights and obligations under this code of conduct. During ESN international events such as AGM, the sharing team, the main facilitators of the meeting, or international board members is the point of contact. For violations of the code committed through online platforms and in cases where you do not want to approach the point of contact, you have the option of submitting an incident report through the online form at esn.org/code of conduct. The submission will be received by the director of ESN International and the president of the international board. The submission is confidential and you have the right to remain anonymous if preferred. In case of witnessing or receiving any complaints, the point of contact is required to remind the participants of their obligation to act in accordance with the code of conduct, engage in a one-to-one conversation with the offender to make sure that there is an understanding of the reason of the inappropriate action, to engage with the offender to explain and ask for an apology and or retraction of the action, suspend the session or to ask the offender to leave from the remaining of the meeting. If the point of contact was alone when receiving the complaint, the decision should, when possible, not be taken alone. And you can also find the code of conduct, the whole document, which is about 3 pages, on the ESN Wiki, under documents. Do you have any questions about it? Now you at least heard about it, if they will ask if you heard about it before. And I think this is my final part. Just some guidelines for AGM. As I said, it's the biggest event of ESN with 800 people at the same place. It's very hectic and so on. I'm sure you will all follow this, and I probably don't even need to mention it, but I will do, just to be there. Just be on time. Don't be late. Be present during the plenaries. The quorum check, if you're not there, your vote doesn't count. Don't sleep during the plenaries. To know your own limits, we're all grown-ups. Respect the OC, the volunteers, the venues in the city, and your fellow ESNers. And give some smiles to the OC and the volunteers, because it will make their day. Just hearing, thank you for a great event. Oh, you're doing an awesome job. It will make their day. And we have a very good image of ESN Sweden, that we're very calm, we're very polite, we're silent. So it's probably ESN like the South, which will take the complaints. So, but yeah. And also that if you have a grant from ESN Sweden, we also hope that you will follow this, since we are contributing to your presence here at AGM. And okay, there was some more. What to bring, just very quickly. Everything you need to for sleeping. You need your ID card or a passport. If you have a ESN clothing, feel free to bring that. As I said, you will receive the hoodie from us, which is blue with a zipper in front and a design on the back. Some Swedish or section flag, face paint color, Swedish clothes. If you have a mascot for a section, feel free to bring that, and so on. Typical food, drinks, promotion material if you haven't sent it already. Your laptop, a battery charger. There will be very few charging spots at the plenaries. There will be 2 corners where you can charge your laptop or your phone. So a power bank is a very good idea. And also the Wi-Fi, it's supposed to be very good, but 800 people, yeah, we will see. And then you need fancy clothes for the gala and fancy shoes for that. And aspirin may be good. And also if you have some gadgets that you want to share with others, bring that for your section. So that was it. 6 minutes over time. Do you have anything else that you want to ask before the last minute call next Thursday, with just final questions and final details to bring up?
I just have a short question regarding, you said that for ESN Sweden, it's you, Marcus, and Javid who are in charge. Did you split up the responsibility somehow, or can we basically ask anyone about anything? So if we ask Marcus or Javid about something related to the voting system, they will also know it, or how did you?
We haven't really split it up, but they are quite part of it, everything. So you can ask any of us, and if they can't answer, they will ask me. So feel free to ask them as well. And we may also divide some tasks. For example, some people being responsible for the info market, some people being responsible for the international dinner, and so on. But that will be announced.
Can I just say something related to the last point that you talked about that we are representing ESN Sweden?
Of course.
I think this is a really important point, because people might not remember the section you're from, but they will just see you as a participant from Sweden. So I think this is quite important to keep in mind. Especially, I don't know how it will be, but last year we received so many questions about our personal opinion about the candidacy of Pascal. So probably this year we will receive questions about how we feel about AGM Sweden. Do you have any recommendations regarding how we should? I don't know. I mean, of course, it makes sense to, it should be everyone understanding that it's not the best idea to trash talk the event. But do you have, apart from that, like any other recommendations for that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, to just keep a good image and well, since not all the sections were at the NP in Karlskrona, just if I can just talk for that, 12 out of 12 sections supported AGM Sweden, so I think that kind of shows as well that it was the support from the network in Sweden about AGM in Sweden. Yeah, I think it's just nice to have a good image and keep it and be the good ESN Sweden countries that we are. And I don't have any really more recommendations. You're free to mingle and network with people and so on. And I think it's I don't think I can. I think it was a special situation maybe last year because everything going on in Sweden then, and that's probably. I think it's more, if I would guess, it would more be, oh, Sweden, it's cold, it's pricey, it's far away. That kind of questions for having AGM in Sweden. And if you're not involved in the application, there's nothing saying that you need to answer any questions that people would ask you. If you don't feel comfortable about it, it's better to just direct it to people who are at AGM, who are part of the application. But I think it's more this funny things that, no, it's going to be cold, it's so expensive, it's far away and so on. We haven't so far received any questions about it, so in the blog more I heard good things about it. Yeah. Did I answer your question, Ellen?
Yeah, thanks.
I saw your in the chat now. I didn't see because I just had my presentation in front here. But about the seats, it will probably be a rotation system. So we would one day be kind of in the front, one day in the middle, and one day in the end of the plenaries. The plenary room is flat and it's just a seat. There's no place for the laptop or anything, or no power outlets. It's just chairs. So it's going to be amazing.
So we basically should print out all our documents that we need.
Or have them offline if you have a very good battery on your computer.
Yeah, but mine dies after 10 seconds.
Okay, yeah. We will see also the OC during the pre-AGM CNR in Athens 3 days before. So if there's any last minute questions, depending on when you leave for Greece, I could also ask them there before you leave, so you know. But yeah. Okay, Jessica, you're leaving? It's fine. We're done. It's just if anyone has a question.
I think Ryan said something. I think I cut him off.
Oh, no, I just said, sounds great. Like, it was not.
Perfect. Yeah, if you just have any questions, just feel free to text me anytime or write in the chat or anything. So that's why we're here to answer that. And just have a look. I know it's a lot of documents and so on. But they will also give you a plenary handbook during AGM, which is printed and has all the proposal, not all the written, but just a summary of everything, so you can have a look at that during it. And I also plan to make a voting sheet, which will kind of explain what you're voting on and what it means, so you can follow it and make it printed. To avoid confusion from last year, right?
Well, thanks for all the information and all you do, Michaela.
No worries. It's thank you. I appreciate it. It's a lot, and yeah, so it's a lot to take in. But just take your time and have a look at the documents and see. I'm really excited for having you all joining for AGM. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. It's really like seeing this like 800 people at the same place is really it's super cool. And even though it's not your home country, Sweden, for any of you, I think it's a cool atmosphere. So yeah, then next week is just last minute call to. It shouldn't take more than an hour to just go through final details, because then I'm off to Greece. And then everyone will hopefully join, so we'll see everyone. We are 20 people, including the national board as well. So that's nice. So thank you for taking the time tonight for joining.
Thank you, and have a good night.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you and good night.
Do you want help?
Yes.
Okay, wait,
please.
I need to stop my recording.